What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Top Rope, off the Mike Sports Network. Thanks to everybody who jumped in on the live stream post Raw. Obviously, the most noteworthy news from this show is Roman Reigns is back in WWE just under 3 weeks before SummerSlam. It appears as if he's going to team with Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on that show, which would be a hell of a match, and it would be interesting to see where they go because Roman supposedly may be a one shot, at least for now, thing, and he may come back later on because he's got to go film a movie. Though also Cody Rhodes, I think, has got to go film the same movie. And but I need to mention this. I know there is a divisiveness in the fan base and in a certain level of, there's some people who really are done with Roman Reigns. And I talked about this weeks ago when the reports were coming out that he was getting ready to make a return. And I said, and I was met with some resistance, WWE needed Roman Reigns because they were in some sort of a creative lull. I'm not saying that Roman was going to fix everything, but television, when Roman Reigns is there, is just so much better. And you guys saw, even in moments like, I mean, hell, even at Night of Champions, they were, and I know this, so using Saudi Arabia is not the greatest example, but they were chanting for OTC when the advantageous spots were there. I thought, and we'll never know, obviously, with the whole nature of everything going on with Seth Rollins, if he was planned to return in Atlanta around that LA Knight match. Like I said, we'll never know. The point is, having Roman Reigns back is big time for WWE because you can already see, like, listen, those OTC one shirts are going to fly off the shelves like hotcakes. That guy sells merch unlike anyone else. That guy gets reactions unlike anyone else in this company. And to see him come back in the manner that he did, and, obviously, the whole story that's going to be played up with Jey Uso is going to be interesting. We'll see if he cross paths with Punk again. We'll see if whatever's going on with Rollins, if we see that play out, because clearly there's meat on the bone there. But it just felt for a while that there was just a missing piece of this whole, Seth Riders thing or whatever they're doing with Rollins and Heyman and Braun and Bronson. It just felt like really unfulfilled and incomplete until we got the appearance of our tribal chief. And now that he's back, even if this is a limited thing, and who knows, maybe he will stick around and do some stuff, even at a limited basis, any level of Roman Reigns in your company right now is going to lead to immense value. Because you guys may say even, he doesn't have any value anymore. He only shows up a few times a year. Guys, if you heard some of the reactions and the people chanting OTC, even when he's not there, we heard this all last year and we're waiting for him to come back. And then he came back at SummerSlam and it was a nuclear reaction. This reaction in Birmingham tonight was incredible, an incredible finish to the show. The guy is a freaking megastar. And yes, he doesn't appear as much as he used to. He's Roman freaking Reigns. He's the damn tribal chief. The guy has literally been running WWE basically for 5 years. Everything that has gone on in WWE in the last 5 years, pretty much a lot of it draws right back to Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins is a direct correlation of Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman is direct. CM Punk has interacted with him. Now Jey Uso is obviously getting more opportunities. I mean, now you're going to see him run into like the future with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. He already interacted with Bronson Reed inside War Games last year. Almost every key piece of WWE, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, literally, you cannot write the last, decade or so without this guy. And yes, obviously, when the push for him really started back in 2013, 14, it didn't get off to the greatest start because he was forced down our throats. But now he has found his element with this tribal chief character, which we've seen consistently. Just, the kids call it aura, man. Like, the guy's got it. And every time he comes in there, no matter what the situation is, that guy is going to generate one of the biggest reactions that you're going to find anywhere. This was attitude era level shit. This was an attitude era level ending, an attitude era level pop. And I don't understand why so many people still have a resistance to this guy. I get it. I mean, I don't get like why they have so much of we don't need Roman Reigns. I get like some of the resistance of like, okay, let's push new talent and let's elevate new talent. People forgetting, as much as we want to brag on Jey Uso's not in the position that he's in without Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn's not in the position he is without Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens, hope he's getting well. He's not in the position he is without Roman Reigns. Like the pieces of WWE that are in place, and now an opportunity presents itself to put him in a match. And who knows how this is going to go? Maybe he takes the pin here. Because really, one more, like, if Roman's coming back into these spots, he's coming in there to at least try to elevate talent. And you know, he may win at SummerSlam. Him and Jay may win at SummerSlam. But at the end of the day, this is all going to be about bringing Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to the forefront. And again, we'll never know what Seth Rollins' involvement was potentially in this type of angle, like due to the injury. There's still a ton of speculation one way or the other of how this is going to go. But it is inarguable to me that WWE television is just significantly better when our tribal chief is on television, because it feels like there is something missing. And that's not to knock on the rest of the roster. It's just when you have Roman Reigns there, things get elevated to a certain level. And this show was already freaking good. CM Punk was there, and he's the number one contender, and he's facing Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. And then Roman Reigns shows up to the rescue to save his cousin and inadvertently save one of his key adversaries in CM Punk. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this goes for Roman Reigns, because, you know, we don't have very many of these left. The guy just had another child. He's going to go off and do movies. His schedule is very limited. There's probably going to be a third match with Cody Rhodes before he leaves. Is there going to be another match with The Rock? I don't know. And at this point, I really don't care, because it seems to be that ship might have sailed. But him coming back here, man, changes the fucking game, because last year it was he's gone until SummerSlam, and even though we had a really good SummerSlam, him coming, we knew he probably was, but him not being on the card definitely kind of, it could have elevated it, and him not being there was definitely an issue. But him being there, just even in a minor mid-card match, well, not a minor mid-card, in seemingly like a showcase match on the mid-card with, you know, like I said, against two guys who are needed to be elevated in Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and you're teaming up with Jey Uso, who's over his shit too, and they've got a story from SummerSlam 2 years ago. This is going to be a hell of a ride here for the next 2 weeks to build to this thing. So it's a much welcome addition to WWE television, having our tribal chief, and I will acknowledge him before I go off the air here. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.